Now, the ordering for this function in the calculator, so it's norm CDF in parentheses, minimum, comma, maximum, close parentheses. That's the order that we're going to type it in. So our minimum value, if I want to know, you stop that, everything to the left of 7, I want to type in negative infinity, really, but it won't let me because calculators don't know infinity. So I'm going to use the smallest number that this calculator is going to recognize. That's going to be basically negative infinity. That number happens to be negative 10 to the 99th power. That's a very, very, very negative number. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Yeah, it has a lot of zeros in the negative direction. And then I'm going to hit comma. Now the maximum value that we're going to come up to is our z-score, or how many standard deviations from the mean are we? Well, we are a half a standard deviation to the left, so I will type negative 0.5, and then I close parentheses. Just remember, normal CDF, minimum, comma, maximum, close parenthesis. And when I hit enter, I will come up with some decimal. What does that decimal mean?
It's probably the percent.
It probably is the percent. What is this decimal right here as a percent? 30.85-ish, right? So we would say that 30.85% of weeks had less than 7 inches of snow.
With what certainty?
We're not necessarily at that point. Any other questions on this? We're going to do another 17 examples, so I understand that you probably don't have it yet, but you will very soon. Ready for another?
Wait, so you're really only dealing with amounts of deviations from the mean. So that negative 10 to the 99th power is that many deviations to the left.
Yeah, it's basically negative infinity.
Yeah.
Any other questions? And this, obviously Kayla has seen in real life, but this will be a great intro for your statistics life in the future, because this will cover quite a bit of first weeks of stats. Are you ready for the next example? Let's use the same info, and let's just say instead of less than 7, I want to know what percent of weeks had more than 8.5 inches of snow. See if you can go ahead and calculate that. If nothing else, you notice that it's not on a standard deviation, so you have to calculate a z-score. Calculate a z-score. We know that 8.5 inches, somewhere here-ish, so I would be looking for this area.
0.597.
And some of your calculators may be looking a little different as far as the notation than the one I have on the board. Anybody running into that? Yeah, did you figure it out?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
cool.
I need help though.
Sweet. Well, what we're doing now is 8.5 inches, and we want to know greater than that. So our lowest value is going to be the z-score for 8.5, and our maximum value is going to be 10 to the 99.
So it's positive 99.
Right, positive 10 to the 99. So if I'm going to put this work,
It's asking me for the standard deviation and stuff like that.
yeah, that, you have the new operating system. Let me show you what you can do here.
I think I got it. but it's-
Or,
That's what I got.
Loser.
because you do the X bar.
So our z-score
Yeah.
is 8.5
No. Oh, never mind.
minus the mean over the standard deviation. So this would be 1/2 over 2, which is 1/4,
Yeah, that's how you do it. I got it.
or 0.25 for those of you who like the decimal. This is our z-score. So now what I need to type into the calculator is, I want to know what percent are greater than that. So when I'm typing this in, norm CDF of, the minimum value is this point, which is 0.25 standard deviations above the mean. And the maximum value is positive infinity. So I would just type in the calculator 10 to the 99. It's positive 10 to the 99 instead of negative 10. So typing that into the calculator, the on button, we would do, what was it, 1/2? 1/4. 0.25, comma, 10 to the 99. Close me, enter. And we have this decimal as a percent, it would be 40.13% of weeks had greater than 8.5 inches of snow.
I'm a negative. Yeah, I got a -2.
I'll check it. Marshall, did you get a negative as
I
well?
got 45.
I'll check it. Let me check yours first. You should let me have it watched. You did 10 to the 99 first. It has to be the minimum value. Read it like a book.
Oh.
Start here, negative or 0.25, and then go to infinity.
Oh.
You need to change your standard deviation to 1. When we use a z-score, it automatically makes our mean 0 and then standard deviation 1. Your operating function here, basically you wouldn't have to use a z-score because it's calculating the z-score for you. You could enter mu, which is the mean. You could enter the standard deviation and then lower and upper. Like you could have typed in 8.5 for lower, upper as that, the mean of 8, and then the standard deviation of 2, and it would give you that number. So people this morning had that same deal, and then I say, cool, like you wouldn't have to know the z-score to do that. But on the quiz, I'll probably say, what's the z-score for 9 inches or something? So you would have to know how to calculate z-score. Any other questions before we put another example up?
No.
Cool? All right, let's make up another problem here. I don't know, let's say that we have a...
You got 40?
Correct. What did you get?
30.
I'll be over in a sec. Well, let's say that we're going to be talking about vertical jump. Very good, Kelvin. Let's say that the average vertical jump of the people at KIH, what do you think their average vertical is?
What is?
13 inches, maybe?
Yeah,
That's about
Got
average.
it. I got it.
You think 13 is about average? 14?
14 sounds good.
I'm thinking 35.
Oh, 14.
14 it is. With a standard deviation of 2?
Yeah.
Let's go with 3. All right. I would like to know what percent of KIH students have a vertical of greater than, I don't know, what do you think, 15 inches?
That's less than 15. I don't even know what I'm talking about.
You're all right, Marshall. I had to look at it again. It's a crazy little E. Settle down. All right, 2 wonderful questions. I'll give you a couple of minutes to work on question A and question B. And then, Marshall, did you figure out that one?
Yeah.
All right.
Can you run this button? Is that what's going on? Yeah.
All right, so the lower should have been 0.25, because we want to know what percent are greater. And then the upper is where you do that infinity deal. And then So we're gonna have a quiz tomorrow?
We're talking about z
Yeah, we have to live now.
Oh.
Yeah.
And then we also have a retake.
What z squared is that you can,
Cool.
we've been dealing with
Exciting.
standard deviations. What is here, what percentage is here. If you need something like, I just wanna know you got 8.5 instead of 12 for 6 hours. Or I need to know if it's here.
Yo. That sounds about right.
Is the number that you
Right.
That would be if you're trying to find a specific. Yeah. Like a specific. We can find only trying to find
Greater
it
than 15 minus.
over how many deviations. So we two. And then you get. Otherwise, if you're trying to find a range, like we said before, the second variable, normal CPM.
Okay.
And you go there. Do you have this calculator? You do.
Sure, Anderson. And then,
So you enter in the lower number, which in our case would be 8.5, and the upper number, which we said was 13, right?
For this one or this one?
the
Mu.
second. Yeah.
Oh, you would do 10 to the 99, because it goes up to infinity.
What it says 19.
And that's how many.
Oh, you mean for this one, you would go from the z-score for this one up to the z-score for this one. So it's not an infinity thing, there's actually a stop value.
The other thing you can do is you can go to second bars. You do the same thing. If you don't know that. This is one. Let's say we.
36.94-ish.
Let's say we did the z-scores instead, so I'll use the z-score of 8, which is 0.5. And I use the z-score of 13, which is.
Part A, I'm coming up with 36.94-ish.
These are
What did you use for your z-score? Yeah, I used 0.33332, so that's probably that accuracy deal going on there. What? Ooh, you fancy, huh?
Yeah.
That's a good idea. 1/3. Everybody good with A?
Yeah.
Haley, question?
You're a whole number, not that's
That's because he multiplied it by 100 in order to get a percent.
Ah, duh.
Cool. Any other questions before we move on to Part B? Part B is the last part that we'll do. Now, we want to know for this one, the percent in between 16 and 19. So, looking at our normal curve, that should be normal, the mean was 14. So 16 and 19, they are going to be only this area under the normal curve. Now, we don't want to use an infinity or 10 to the 99 for this one. We actually want to type in our lower value of the z-score for 16 and the upper value of the z-score for 19. Does that make sense?
Yes.
As far as typing it in? So let's go ahead and calculate our z-scores. For the 16, I'm going to call this z, score, 1. And now it moved. Come here, smartboard. You're not so smart after all. And this one is z score 2. Z score 1 is given by 16 minus 14 over 2, which is that 1? Or was the standard deviation 3? Talk to me. It was 3. So it's 2 over 3. Which if you wanted to use a decimal approximation, that would be 0.6 repeating. And Z2 then would be 19 minus 14 over 3. 3, which is 5/3. So typing that into the calculadora, we would go ahead and use our normal deal, and we would say our lowest score, which was 2/3, thirds, comma, and our upper score, which is 5/3.
Oh, okay.
And then I would close the parentheses, I would hit enter, and I come up with, there are 20.47% of, I forget what vertical jump.
Oh,
20.47% of people at KIH have a vertical jump in between 16 and 19 inches. How you feel about that? Pretty good? Any other questions? I think that's enough as far as examples, but what I would say would behoove you for tomorrow is looking at that practice quiz, and that actually might be something good to look at for the 14 minutes we have before break, because of the fact it will be great practice with complex numbers and also great practice with this normal curve, standard deviation, mean stuff. So I would say that all of you are opening that bad boy and checking it out and trying to do each of those questions. I will help you get there if you're like, I don't know where that is. It's under the assessments part of the project briefcase, and it says practice for quiz 2. And it's crazy because when I click on it, it just pops right up.
Whoa.
I know. Thank you. So 1, 2, and 3, as we said, is going to be dealing with some physics equation and complex numbers. And then number 4, there are a bunch of bullet points dealing with a normal curve standard deviation situation.
Wow.
Thank you.
Deviation situation.
All right. Kayla.
So that goes tomorrow, and then the retake for the,
Third retake will also be tomorrow.
so when are we gonna get the quiz, like the retake quiz grade?
The grade is in. You can have the quizzes in approximately 35 seconds.
So like the one that we took yesterday?
Si, senorita. Didn't we enter? Yeah, I entered those.
Yeah, and if your grade didn't change, you might not have done.
Hi, Haley.
Wouldn't it be the second retake tomorrow?
No.
We only took one.
The second
Second
retake,
retake. Yes.
third.
Third attempt, second retake. Last try is tomorrow. That's the important part.
Yeah, yeah. I got you.
Third test.
Any other questions? As Mr. Berway has stated with first session, the first 3 questions are physics. And remember, physicists use J instead of I because of the whole, someone else already used the I thing in physics. So when you look at these complex numbers, remember that J is the same as the square root of -1. And J squared then would be, uh-oh.
Square root of -1.
She's saying things anyway.
J
Remember,
squared.
Squared is -1, and I and J are the same. Then J squared is.
oh, I thought you said, yeah, no,
I'm gonna go home.
I was thinking.
See you guys tomorrow.
I was thinking that.
Talk to you then.
I hope you have a lovely rest of your day. Anderson out.
Is X being wrong?
Yes.
Usually. Great.
Graded them very quickly by throwing X's in.
I have a question. What if on like the retake, we got one wrong, but like the same type of question, on the first one, we got it right?
Sorry about your luck. You didn't have understanding, evidently. Sounds like you guessed 50% chance of getting it right, and you got 50%.
Yeah, so, yes.
She just chose an answer.
She did. She didn't guess.